Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dr. Hooten's Hope Dealer podcast, recently rated best healthcare podcast of the new millennia for all time. Now, today we're going to go over what you can do for your own health. If you know somebody that's struggling with a health issue, share this with them. Please like and subscribe to these videos. You know how all that works. The more attention these get, the more people it will help. Our office is in North Dallas, near the tollway and Beltline, easily accessible from anywhere in the country. So no matter where you are, come here, come see us. I'll walk you through the whole thing, no matter what your health issue is. Now, maybe you don't have anything. You're not dealing with a health crisis of any kind, or maybe you've got something like headaches, constant allergies, and you don't think it's a big deal. Those are a big deal. Maybe you know somebody with a child that's dealing with asthma. Maybe you have a friend that's dealing with something like rheumatoid arthritis. If you step back and look at the data, more than half of this country, including children, are dealing with a chronic health condition. The last study I saw said 62% of every American is dealing with some type of long-term diagnosis, whether it's a pain-like condition like herniated discs in your spine, or chronic pain, or allergies, asthma, rheumatoid arthritis, or the bigger stuff like cancer. More than 60%, that's well over half the country, is dealing with these things, and the drug companies are sitting back, raking in the dough, raking in the big bucks, and you all kind of know this. You know, that's not going to be any new information. I mean, who's making all the money on our health? It's the drug companies. Now, who do they use to make that money? They use the doctors. And who else do they use? They use the pharmacies. And who else do they use? They use the insurance companies. And the entire system is set up to keep you drugged, to keep you in this mindset that you have to take a chemical to be well. That flies right in the face of how we were designed. In fact, the Bible is real clear on this. Do not rely on pharmakia, aka sorcery, aka pharmacy, aka medication. Do not rely on that to be well. You will not be healthy. That leads to death. Now, that's biblical. Maybe you're not faithful like we are. Maybe you're more scientific. Well, think about it. If you pour chemicals in your body, are you ever going to be healthy? Does that make scientific sense? Absolutely not. We should not have to put a chemical substance in our body to be well. You all know there are choices that you can make to be healthy. And that's what I'm going to go over, because a lot of people deal with health issues. I mean, you talk to anybody in your family, you have a conversation with somebody on the street even, or in the store. Eventually, it's going to come up, somebody in your life or their life is dealing with a health crisis. I know that. We all know that. But what do you do about it? That's where the big problems lie. And that's the first thing I want to go over, is you have to understand that going to the doctor, and how many of you have heard that? Raise your hand if you've heard a million times, call your doctor, call your doctor. Talk to your doctor. Oh, you're dealing with this? Talk to your doctor right away. Talk to your doctor. It's repetition over and over. It's the mockingbirds out there telling you to call the doctor when that is not what you should do. You should look to yourself, look to your behavior, and what is it that you have done to create this situation, and then obviously what to get out of it. If you don't make that mindset switch, if you don't start taking responsibility, you will be a statistic. And don't shoot the messenger here. I'm just talking pure data. If you don't take care of your health now, if you don't properly take care of it, you'll wind up having a chronic disease in your 60s and 70s and lose quality of life. That's the big thing for me. I want to live. I want to get up to 80, 90, and 100 years old. More importantly, I want it to be quality. And you know what's, just as I said that, I just reminded me, I did a talk at a church a couple of years ago, and this youth group came up to me, and they were talking, they got them really engaged. They wanted to take charge of their health. And I asked all of them, I said, how many of you want to live to be 80? And they all said, I don't want to live to be that old. And it just occurred to me that their hope for a good life as they aged had been robbed from them. And then as I got to talking to them, 4 of the 5 of them were taking an asthma medication. 4 out of 5 of them were taking asthma, and 2 of them were taking multiple asthma medications, and they didn't see it as a problem. That's the first thing I want to tell you. If you're taking medication, that is a problem. It's a big problem. And your health is your number one asset, or at least you should be approaching it that way, because when you get sick, it doesn't matter what the economy's doing. How many of you have had the flu and you're down for a couple of days? It doesn't matter what your school schedule is or what your work schedule is. You can't do anything. That's because your health is ultimately going to be your number one priority. And sadly, the number one cause of bankruptcy in this country has to do with health. It's there. Most people in general just don't want to acknowledge it. They want to live their life carefree, eat a bunch of crap, not take care of their spine, call their doctor, take a drug, take a over-the-counter, take a Tylenol, Advil, whatever. You have to switch that mindset. That is a devastating way for you to live. It's devastating for your body. It's devastating for your family, for your friends, and for your health. So that's the first part of this podcast. And now we're going to get into what you must do to get out of that. What physical steps can you take to make your life better today, to lead you away from medication? I don't care what the drug is. If you've watched our podcast in the past, I was on a handful of medications when I was a kid, and we started taking the appropriate steps. Now, if you go online and, Dr. Google, and you ask the internet, what should I do for diabetes, for example? What should I do for headaches? What should I do for high blood pressure? Oh, you're going to get all kinds of drug advertisements. You're going to get people saying, go try this natural remedy. You're going to get people saying, have you done this? Have you done that? Well, ultimately, the end of that rabbit hole ends in a couple of facts. Okay, these aren't opinions. I'm going to give you the facts. If you don't address these two things, it's not going to matter. Now, the first fact, I've already told you. You have to get out of the mindset of treating the symptom, especially with the medication. Now, let's just take back pain or asthma, for example. Let's say you know somebody dealing with that. Maybe it's your family. Rheumatoid arthritis, a big one right now. Eczema all over your skin, anything. Let's say you know somebody dealing with something like that. The tendency is you want to treat that thing. So you go to a naturopath, you go to a medical doctor, you go to the internet, and you get all this information on how to treat that thing. That is a problem, and that is the wrong approach. Let me say that again. You can't go to even a chiropractor or an acupuncturist or an MD trying to get well by treating the symptom. It's not going to work, because then all you're doing is treating the symptom with something covering it up. And there's a whole bunch of natural remedies out there. I mean, you've got, for inflammation, you've got turmeric, and if you're into the natural side of healing, you've seen all this stuff. I mean, CBD is everywhere. It's a lot safer than a lot of these prescription meds, but you're still treating the symptom, and if you want to get well, you can't do that. You can't. Now, it's okay to temporarily treat it with something natural so you don't hurt. I get that, but that is not going to fix you. Now, let me give you an example. Let's say you have rheumatoid. Okay, that's like one of the biggest things right now. Or your immune system is down, like you get frequent flus, or you went down with COVID, like it affected you. Let's say you've got something like that you're dealing with. Well, treating it naturally, temporarily, is going to be okay. Let's just take turmeric. That's like a real hot topic right now. You don't get inflammation because you haven't taken turmeric your whole life. Does that make sense? You're not having trouble with your body because you haven't taken CBD your whole life. Those things are not solutions, or any of the other natural remedies, or especially prescription drugs like headaches. You don't get headaches because you didn't take Tylenol forever. You're not getting headaches because of a lack of Excedrin. Does that make sense? There is a cause, and it comes down to one main thing. More important than food, and for all of you nutrition geeks out there, I get it. Food is very important. You can destroy your body with poor nutrition. But even before that is the health and flow of your spinal cord. Now, we're talking about your central nervous system, your main CPU of your body, the creme de la creme for everything associated with digestion, with your heart beating, your lungs working. You can't do anything without a properly flowing brain and spinal cord. Not an opinion. What if we reached into my head and pulled my brain out? What happens to my stomach, my pancreas, my liver, everything that has to do with digestion? What happens to my hormones if you pull your brain out? It's over. You want this flowing through your spinal cord to every cell, tissue, and organ in your body if you want to be healthy. If you interrupt that flow, if your brain can't quite get to your digestive system, are you going to digest food properly? No, you can't. So the analogy I always use is like a garden. Your brain is the water supply to everything in your garden. And let's just take your joints. So all you people with rheumatoid or skin, people with eczema, headaches, high blood pressure, diabetes, anything. That all your body parts are in your garden. Okay, and your brain is the main water supply to everything, and your spinal cord would be the hose. Well, if you shut off the water, everything dies real quick. If you kink the hose, some of the flow isn't getting to your garden. What happens to some of the leaves in your garden? They begin to wither, they'll wilt away. It's impossible to have a healthy garden, a healthy body, if you're not getting adequate water supply to it. Does that make sense? That should make sense. So if you're listening so far, what we do here with appropriate chiropractic, and I'm talking about the hardcore, dive right into the main thing that's the main thing. You're not going to get a whole lot of extracurricular garbage in here like laser treatments or anything like that. Not that those things are inherently bad. They don't fix you. Only you can fix you. Only your brain and spinal cord. This is how you're designed. Everything runs through your spinal cord. So if you come into an office like ours, that's where we start. You have to get your brain and spine flowing. From there, then we can adequately address nutrition. Then we can tell you how to exercise. Then we can tell you how to detox. So we've got all 5 things covered. Mindset, spine, food, exercise, and toxicity. Sleep even is part of the exercise combination. But you have to get your spine working. Interestingly enough, just yesterday, this real sweet couple came in and she had neck pain, all these things. She's taken 3 medications for different things, antidepressants, pain meds, and something else. But as I was talking to her, she's not sleeping. Oh, that's what she was taking. She was taking a sleep medication. Well, once you start getting adjusted, so your spinal cord can actually flow and your body can relax, you think you're going to sleep a little better? How many of you need to sleep better? See, even your sleep is regulated by your central nervous system. All of your hormones, the way you handle reality. Have you been anxious? Have you been depressed? Do you ever feel like you're overwhelmed with everything? Well, if your brain and spinal cord are flowing, don't you think you would handle life quite a bit better? So when it comes down to your overall health, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to accomplish, if it's trying to get away from medications, if you're trying to get away from the doctor, we don't even go to the doctor. You know, my 12-year-old daughter has only went to the doctor one time, other than me, she's been adjusted her whole life, and that was because she crammed an earring into her earlobe. So and I couldn't get it out. It was a square stud, and it was hurting her trying to get it out. So there's a place for medicine, right? We had to go in. They did put a little lidocaine in her ear, and then they pulled the earring out. Thank you, Dr. B. And that's the only time. But she's never had a prescription drug in her life. Can you imagine that? This 12-year-old girl has never had an allergy pill, never had a Tylenol, never had an Advil. She has grown up with such a strong mindset. She will not reach for medication. I didn't have that luxury. I was sick until I was 13 years old. Many of you have been that way. Look, just like my daughter, you have that authority. It's in there. All you have to do is take it, grab it. It's there. It's yours. You have the power that my daughter does. We all do. We're all just a big bunch of babies, really. As we grow up, we still have this power that took you from an infant all the way up to an adult. That's life. How did you grow? How did your body know to go from a sperm and an egg into what you are now? It's an incredible thing in your body, this life, this spark of life that God gave us. And it's there. You just got to get out of the way. And you have to start with your mindset and then get your spine flowing. So if you're anywhere in Texas, anywhere in North Dallas especially, give us a call. I've got buddies all over the country. If you don't live here, we can help you find someone. But you must start taking care of your spine. So you get the right mindset, get the right knowledge. Be proactive, take control. Don't give it to a doctor. Don't give authority to a doctor. You'll wind up with a cancer diagnosis or high blood pressure or heart disease. That's what the data also, or Alzheimer's. That's what, you know, those are the 3 disease killers right now, is heart disease, including heart attack and stroke, cancer, and Alzheimer's. All 3 of those preventable. Don't let anybody tell you that those are not preventable, right? Now, I don't treat those things. I treat the body so you avoid it, so you heal it, so you tap into the power that God put in you and it could avoid those things. And the 4th leading cause of death, you got those 3 and not in any particular order. Medicine and surgeries are killing 1 million people a year in this country. Don't turn your health over to that system. Get out of the rat race. Take control of it. Call us up. You can find us anywhere. Like I said, please subscribe. Share this video with somebody, anybody that you know that's dealing with anything. You'll see testimony after testimony after testimony of whatever the situation you're in, I've seen people heal it. Remember, I'm not the healer. That's God's job and the power that He put in you. You can find us at drhooten.com, drhooten.com, anywhere on social media. We're here. We're ready to help you. Give us a call. Don't suffer anymore. Remember, drugs are bad. God is great, and so are you.